How you doing, everybody? My name is Octavius Levon Blount. I'm the coordinator for the Mayor's Office of Black Male Engagement, and we're here with another Spotlight series. We're here with a dynamic brother. He does a lot of things in the city of Philadelphia, and he impacts black men and boys in the city. And we're just going to talk to him about what he does, who he is, and how he can create more impact in this world that we live in today. So, Chris, if you can tell me a little bit about yourself, that'd be great.
Hey, thanks for having me. My name is Chris Banks. I run an organization called the Banks Giving Company.
Okay.
It's a nonprofit financial literacy organization, and what we do is we teach kids, mostly inner city, black, brown, minority kids, about different aspects of finance and different aspects of business. So whether that's the business behind sports, the business of the music industry, real estate, whatever it is, but try to break that down with real numbers that they could essentially relate to.
Okay. Now, I know that we jumped right into it as far as what you do. If you took off that hat that you have that you just explained, what would people say about you, like Chris Banks, without the Banks Giving Company?
Yeah, I think I've always kind of been a passionate, fun-loving guy. Somebody that stands for something, somebody that's always wanted to make change, always have, try to have a positive outlook about life, what I could bring to the world, what you could change to the world, things like that, yeah.
Okay. So now the Banks Giving Company, I know that's like a little pun on your last name.
A little bit.
What made you want to start this organization?
Yeah, I'll say it started, I guess, as far as just the brainchild probably started, I would say maybe about 6 years ago.
Okay.
And it was just me essentially living life in the the corporate world or the business world, whatever it was. And I was making money and I was making some good connections. And it was just a lot of things that colleagues and stuff were telling me about in regards to finance that I had no idea of. So, when they were telling me how to put more into your retirement or your thrift savings plan, 401k plan, these were things that I heard of, but I was always under the impression that you needed so much money to do it, or, that it would take too much. And, I think that a lot of times in our culture, we just want the money up front. So whether that's in salary, we don't think about savings, we don't think about retirement, we don't think about how to essentially create that wealth so that there's not a gap between the next generation of our family and whoever. So I think that somewhere around that time, just looking at my own bumps and bruises as well as things that I didn't know, I said, you know what, I think it'd be much more powerful if I could bring that back to the city. Because even as bright as I may have thought that I was, it was a lot of things that I didn't know. And I also knew there was a lot of people from similar backgrounds who also didn't know. So that's really where it started at.
Okay. Now, based off of how you talked about in our end culture, a lot of people, either want fast money, they don't know about certain things that you've talked about. Why is financial literacy so important?
I just think it's important because at the end of the day, we all want money in some shape, form, or fashion, right? And we all understand that everything costs money, even things that are portrayed as free. Somebody's paying for that some shape or form on the back end. And whether you want to be in finance, whether you want to be in real estate, whatever it is, it's important for you to just live in life, especially for these young kids, to understand how people around you are making money around you, from you, how they're essentially preying on you for your mistakes or your lack of knowledge, lack of education in these financial or business world.
So how do you think when you do these workshops that you have, I know you have one coming up, I'm going to have you plug that at the end.
Okay.
How do you think these workshops are impacting young men that walk into that room?
Well, I think that a lot of people who aren't in the space, they might feel like black men need more punishment, or they don't. If this would have happened when he was young, or if if we could have put a control over him, and I just think they need more guidance. They need more people, not only that look like them, but deeper than that, people that relate to them. People that can say, you know what, you're not necessarily wrong for that, because when I was 15, I did the same thing, you know. And I think that most of the educators who are in their lives, they're either far out of reach or they really don't understand the current culture or climate that they're coming up in. And that's from neighborhoods, that could be from race, that could be from their financial background and all of that. And I think that most times, especially coming up in the inner city of Philadelphia, I relate to these guys. And I'm still at an age where, you know, they don't look at me as a dad, but they look at me as somebody that maybe is a little bit cool, you know. And but I kind of show them the ropes. Like, hey, I've been there before too. Look at me.
Okay. Now, as far as the whole "look at me" theme of that, how do you think the men that you do bring in, like a Aaron McKee, like a Malcolm Jenkins, how do you think they represent black men for these other younger black men that are in the room?
I mean, I think that those guys are great role models, and not only because they showed you how hard work and has gotten them to their level, but they're also showing you how they were able to essentially double down and take their athletic abilities and talent to be able to bring awareness and knowledge into other places and still be able to help black people as a whole. When Brother Malcolm Jenkins came in, I believe he spoke with us in June, and Aaron McKee in August. They both kind of shared similar ideals, you know, like, and they also talked about what they would be doing if it wasn't for sports. So the reason why I think like the business of sports is good, especially for us, our black young men, is because typically a lot of us, we feel like that's our only way out of whatever, out of the house. You know, we think, you know, for me, I don't know if I even would have thought about college if it wasn't for me playing football, you know, and running track. Like, my mom didn't go to college, my father didn't go to college, so it's like, it wasn't a automatic thing, but it was like, but it also wasn't, I was going to get the best grades I could. It didn't seem like that was in the cards for me. And probably because I didn't have that as an inspiration in front of me. So relating that back to those guys, they've done that, but they've also shown that we stand for something that after my career is over physically, I'm going to be able to still be successful and be able to make change in my community. And I think that's something that even from an athletic perspective, a lot of our athletes don't necessarily think about. We just think about making $1 million however many times. And we think it's going to last forever.
Yeah, that is true. Before we end, I would like to ask that you provide some advice for these young brothers that will be watching this show, and also myself, because I am also a young brother that's coming up, looking at you as a role model and looking at other black men as role models. So if you have any advice, that would be great to hear.
I appreciate that. What I will say is, first of all, I look at you as a role model. You and Mr. Drummond and what you guys are doing, you know, here at the Office of Black Male Engagement, it's really admirable, and I hope that you don't think that your work goes unnoticed. But to, I say my younger brothers, the teens, I always like to tell them that, you know, it's never over, you know, like I've made plenty of mistakes as a teenager, as a preteen, as a young adult, you know, even now I'm still making some mistakes, and it's never over. And don't let anybody tell you that this is your last strike. It inevitably can make things a little more difficult if you keep messing up, but it's never over. And I think that in this day and age, we see all the time people who, you know, they might just have one big break, whatever that is, and in a matter of a month, a week, a year, your life really can change. And as cliche as that sounds, if you really stand for something and you keep going for it, I do believe that there's ways that it can happen, even with everything that are against us as black men. If you really do stand for something, you can make your way, and you can impart your legacy on the world.
Okay. Now, before we really end this time,
second ended.
If you want to plug your workshop that you have and future workshops that you have, that would be awesome for the young brothers to attend.
Right. So tomorrow, as you know, we have our workshop that's October 13th, 10 o'clock. All of our workshops are held at Temple University. Tomorrow's going to be talking about entrepreneurship. I think that's important because a lot of times our kids nowadays, you know, it's kind of like a fad word of being an entrepreneur, being your own boss, but they really don't know what it takes to do that from a financial aspect, you know, whether that's from creating your idea, whether that's from having the LLCs, you know, possible legal fees, trademarking and stuff. They have no idea. They don't know if they need a $20,000 or if they need $2,000 or if they need $500. And so tomorrow we're going to be talking about that. I also have two guest presenters that are going to come. A lady by the name of Zakia Blaine. She has a fitness apparel line called FBF Fitness that's doing very well, and also another lady by the name of Candace Thompson, Dr. Candace Thompson, who's a dentist. Now she's involved, a partner in a practice, and also about to open up her own dentistry, and really talking about how entrepreneurship, you know, has made her level up. From there, next month, Black Friday, we call that Banks Friday, is when we open up the bank accounts for the kids and deposit the initial $100 into it. So 50 kids who met the requirements throughout the year, we're going to open up bank accounts for them and deposit the initial $100. Day after that, November 24th, we're going to have the Thanksgiving Ball, which I really hope that you can attend. That's going to be a big fundraiser for us. And then we're kind of going to take December off a little bit, in January start programming up again. Yep. So if anybody was looking, feel free to follow us on Instagram. That's Banksgiving Co. On Instagram, at Banksgiving on Facebook, and www.banksgiving.org if you just want to know more general information about the organization.
I want to say thank you to Chris Banks. He's a dynamic brother, as you can tell. You can check us out at our next Spotlight series. We do these monthly. Check us out at our next one.